Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I have finally finished the Astrology of December, so I want to share it with you now. It is December is a 16-7 vibration. I spoke of that in the numerology of December. If you haven't checked that out, it's a good reading. And so there's this sort of breaking down, coming down of structures that have been holding us back, quite frankly. It's not really just about loss, but it's about all those things that have held us up and not really allowed us to shine as brightly as we could. And this month does that. It's not just about disaster. It's not really about that. It's about awakening and opening your mind and your heart and your life to something that's even bigger than you ever imagined. And it's not only bigger, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's love. It's Mother Earth loving us and us loving her. She has given for so long, and we have taken and taken and taken, and it's time to give back. It's time to give back. And in that giving back, we're giving to ourselves as well. So it's about giving and receiving. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, oh, there it is. I think hopefully if I can find it. All right. Okay, this is actually the end. So let me get to, okay. So this is where I ended the last one. So let me just do what I do here. Okay. All right, there we go. I figured it out. All right, so this is where we left off with the numerology and the Kabbalah in the solar plexus, chakra. And it is a very, very powerful chakra. And it is a very powerful conduit for our will energy, the energy of our will. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? And so it's a powerful time to will things, to will your life. You know, you're willing yourself into a situation or a different situation that's more in alignment, or it's more of an expression of who you are. For the service of everyone, not just it's not about self-service. This is a higher will, right? So it's not about serving self, but it's about serving and a more full expression of the part of the self that loves. You think about the people who are on the front lines in the hospitals and how much love they need, how much love they give, how much, it's just, we need to send the love to the people who are taking care of us. So let's look at the astrology. So week one, we're going to start with we're going to start in November, and I realize it's the 4th already, but on the last day of November, we had an eclipse, right? We had an eclipse. It was a full moon lunar eclipse at 8 degrees of Gemini, 38 minutes, or 9 degrees of Gemini. And this was the start of the South Node eclipse season. South Node eclipses are about letting go of emotional reactions and responses that no longer serve our evolution. And so we're being asked to let go of something that is not useful to us anymore. What is not useful anymore? This is part of a Saros cycle of eclipses that began March, well, this is kind of technical, March 19th, 1624, and the cycle ends May 15th, 2868. These cycles are thousands of years old. But what's interesting about this eclipse cycle is it started 4 years after the Pilgrims came to Plymouth Rock. So I think it's significant in kind of the birth of America. And perhaps this is significant because now we have a rebirth of America, that we are different, that we have been changed, that we have remembered who we were, remembered our heart instead of just our power. Wow. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go on to the next thing here. It's very powerful. So this was the eclipse that was on the 30th. And we can see that the moon here was in Gemini and right next to the north node of the moon. And so you can't have an eclipse unless the moon and the sun are close to the node of the moon. And then on the other side here, we have the sun and we have the north node. And this is a chart for the United States of America, incidentally. And the awareness comes across the axis of life and death. Life and death. And that's really where we're at right now, because a lot of people are going to probably die through this holiday season because of COVID-19, just because of the numbers of people who are getting it. So we will in this eclipse, right? We become aware of that. We see that, we feel that. And these eclipses are South Node eclipses. And so it requires us to let go of something. And so perhaps we need to let go of, let go of the pain, the suffering, the need to, and just be kind to one another and love one another. Okay. So we're going to look at week by week, and there's the eclipse is pretty an intense experience, really, as you just saw, and I just spoke of. And sometimes a lot of things happen in between the days of the eclipses, but that's less so here. So we're going to go over it week by week, but it's kind of a soft, even though we had an eclipse, it's like a soft beginning. And we really don't get to a crescendo of and a shift and a change until after the next eclipse. So and then I think that eclipse is going to help to like bring us into 2021 in a way that maybe we didn't think it would end that well. We didn't think it would end that well. It's been a very, challenging year. Okay, so on Saturday, December 5th, And today's the 4th. So, okay, so we're right on target because there haven't been any really big things happening since the eclipse. So this Saturday, we have a Venus make a trine to Neptune, and that's actually lovely. It's a lovely energy. Venus is the planet of love. Neptune is the planet of compassion. Trines are this outpouring of love, this outpouring of healing and compassion, sensitivity, just easing the wounds, This very, very potent energy of Venus and Neptune. And Venus is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is a great healing energy. It's a purgative. It's healing through transformation, and it is being expressed along with the energy of Neptune, which is about oneness and healing, and so there's an opportunity for a great healing to occur. And the other thing that this energy could bring is it could bring some sort of flood or some sort of like energy like that if it would express in the earth. Like if we express it within ourselves, that love and compassion, and really hook into that and really let it pour through us, less people would have to, there'd be less weather events because the energy, the earth doesn't have to create a reason for us to have compassion, some terrible thing that happens, right? So the next day, Sunday the 6th, we have a Venus in conjunct Mars and Mercury in conjunct Uranus. So as beautiful as Saturday was, Sunday has a little bit more of an edge to it. Inconjuncts create irritation. And Venus and Mars is relationships. So there can be some irritation between relationships. And Mercury and in conjunct Uranus is a miscommunication, and things are sort of off and wacky. So it's kind of a prickly, sharp energy that you can feel, but you best not get too invested in it. Okay, so week 2, we're on week 2 now. Wednesday, December 9th, we have the Sun square Neptune, confusion, spiritual crisis. So this can be a disorienting experience and a disorienting week, at least at this point in the week. And then the next day, we have a sextile between Venus and Pluto. And this is an energy of generosity and helping people who need help, financial help. I feel like they are going to do something with getting some more help for people. They're gonna definitely, that's definitely going to go through. Everything seems like it's so like stuck, but I really think that's going to come through, and I can see that happening in this month. Exactly when, I'm not sure, but as the energy reads, we can actually really start to help people even before the Biden administration gets in. And maybe karmically, it would be, which sounds kind of odd, but like if suddenly like the Trump people cooperated and, I don't know. That probably won't happen, will it? Oh, the heck with them. All right. The second week, this Friday, December 11th, that's my girlfriend's son Devin's birthday. He was born in 97, so he's 23. Oh my God, he's gonna be 23. Happy birthday, Devin. Oh, the Sun trines Mars. That's a nice one to have. This is the trine of social rewards, understanding, and flow. And so that is a nice sort of energy, but we're dealing with fire. And so where we had sort of the flood with the Neptune trine, this one feels like fire coming in. And this water and fire combination of energies that are coming in is a spiritual initiation. We're being initiated. We are being required to really open up to something that we may have never even considered we could open up to. Wow. All right. Sunday, which we'll call it week 3. We have a square between Neptune and Mercury. This can be confusion, lies. There's a crisis in consciousness, questioning of authority. So this is, this is like smoke and mirrors, like on crack. But we, I feel like this could even be questioning what you believed with all your heart to be true. And that includes the people who like, I don't know. Let's go to the next one. On the 14th, Monday, this is the new moon solar eclipse in Sag. It's at 24 degrees of Sag. And the Sabian symbol for 24 degrees of Sag is a bluebird perched on the gate of a cottage. Keynote, the reward which meets every effort at integrating into a social environment for those who remain true to their own selves. So the reward which meets every effort at integrating into a social environment for those who remain true to themselves. Wow. So the more truly who you are, I guess, which is very Sagittarius anyway. They're really true to who they are. They're true to themselves. Yeah. Where if they're not, they need to be. Yeah, so the key word here is good fortune. And so if you've done what you can and been the best person that you can be, without, without becoming something you don't want to be, and become what you want to be, or what you're meant to be, or what you were born to be. Okay, so this is powerful, and this is a South Node eclipse. So this is about letting go. This is about letting go. And here's the actual chart, and we can see here that the sun. Now this is for Washington D.C. So this would be for the United States if you want to look at it from the political or mundane perspective. But we have the sun and the moon up here in Sagittarius in the 10th house. The 10th house is the house of the president. It's the house of the public sphere, the public sector. And this is a South Node eclipse. And so it's about letting go of something, the belief, perhaps Sagittarius, that that a savior is coming, and that perhaps we have to save ourselves. This is square Neptune, right? And Neptune is square the nodes quite tightly now, getting tighter and tighter. So this is it can be a real crisis in faith for some people. It can be a real come to Jesus moment for some people. All in service of letting go of beliefs about ourselves and about other people that just don't work in the new and energetic level. It just doesn't work. It won't work. It'll just, and this is an opportunity for that. And then working towards the North Node. And this is for the United States. And the North Node in Gemini, in the fourth house, looks to me like coming home to speak to our souls, coming home to speak to the soul of America. Yeah, the promise of America. I felt that. This new moon is also trine Mars in Aries. Mars just had this long retrograde cycle. It's been in Aries since June. It's been building up a lot of energy, and it's in the sign that it rules. And so this is also very, very powerful. And Mars is not only trine the sun and the moon, but it's also more tightly trine Mercury and the south node, meaning that on this end to the north node, it's making a sextile. So there's an opportunity for us to really sort of move forward in this and come to understand who we are. And from that experience of this country and the experience of all the indigenous that were here before the Europeans came. This is this is a real reckoning. And as I remember actually that Mars will be the Chiron of the United States is like 20 degrees, I think a few less minutes, but this is pretty much the Chiron of the United States. And so there's a woundedness, and this could be a last ditch effort at striking back at the wound. So this could be something where maybe Trump has one last ditch effort to grab onto power. And that creates all the change that's coming in the coming days. Okay, and this is what I mean. Oops. All right. It's like, oh, where's the 3? So we have the next day a Venus sextile Saturn. And we have here opportunities for progressive change to aid folks financially. And then a few hours later, Venus moves into Sagittarius. So Venus moves out of bottom line Scorpio into big picture, broad-minded Sagittarius. And so it's like a releasing in a way of light, a releasing of light. And not only is the light released, but it is structured. There's been a structure for a release of the light. So things that you've been working on, connections that you've been making, networking that you've been doing, is all sort of coming to a new level, a new level. This is very, very positive, very positive change that you can have with this. That you can have with this. Yeah. Thursday, December 17th. This is, and then, okay, so there's this like all this upsurge of energy, and then we move into Saturn's ingress into Aquarius on the 17th. Saturn was in Aquarius already. I think it was March to July, March to about 3 months. It was in the first couple of degrees of Aquarius. And then it moved back into Capricorn. And it's been moving through Capricorn now since July, and then goes out on December 17th. So there's been a lot of the strength that it's taken in these last July, 3 months. Is that July? August, September, October, November, December. 6 months. Is it 6 months? Anyway, however many months it's been. It's really been moving almost the immovable. Like it's the energy of working really hard. And Pluto was there and Jupiter was there. It was almost like all the gods had work really hard to push us over the edge, to push through the crust of the old and into the new. And that's, I think, what we're seeing here. That's what we're seeing here. The last time Saturn was in Aquarius was 1991 to 1993. And for a little bit in 1994, it was in there, but very small period of time. But 1993 was a big year. In 1993, there were 3 conjunctions of Neptune and Uranus, and it was in Capricorn. I think like 12 degrees, 13 degrees, something like that of Capricorn. And that was the last time Saturn was in Aquarius. And this time we're at another one of these moments where we're really sort of cracking open and letting the light in. What we've seen up to this point with all this Capricorn energy has been a strengthening to a certain extent of the energy of Capricorn in its negative sense of authoritarianism. That's not what Capricorn's all about. It's not. It's a beautiful, fertile, wonderful sign. But it can indicate the systems that are holding us back from expressing who we are. But in order to really express who we are, we need a lot of momentum. And I think that there's a part of us that we may realize that 2020 was an opportunity to get some momentum, to finally stop. For those of us who were lucky enough that we could stop and still eat. And then receive from, and for those who had to receive what they weren't used to having to receive, and accept gifts that they, maybe would have rather earned than just been given. People have to open up to that as well. So it really is, it feels to me like it is the birthing of an age. And it's really happening. It's really happening. So the Sabian symbol for 1 degree of Aquarius, which of course, as soon as the sign moves into, as soon as the planet moves into a sign, it goes into the 1st degree. It says an old Adobe mission in California, the keynote is the power inherent in all great human works to endure far beyond the worker's lifespan. So this is about building something that goes much further than my lifetime and our children's lifetime and our children's lifetime. That is the opportunity being given. And we can't let doubt get in the way of that this is the right thing at the right time, and that things are going to open up and things are going to get better. And love is going to heal and cure, and we're going to talk to one another again, and we're not going to be so angry. And when somebody falls down, we don't kick them, we help them up. It's here. We're just on the edge of that. We just have to push a little bit more. And I say that because this is the 17th I'm talking about, but I'm only in the 4th. So between now and then, a lot to push through. And here is here's the chart. Where are we here? No, okay, I don't know. Oh, here it is. What am I looking for? Incidentally, Pallas Athena is moving into, or moved into Aquarius on the 7th, I think, December 7th, it moves into Aquarius. So we've had all these planets in Capricorn, Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, kind of all moving through that very heavy part of the chart. And as I said, it's like all the gods are pushing. And at that time, Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, was in the mix the whole time. And what it felt like to me is she reined in the boys. She reined in the boys. And she did what was necessary. She held what she had to hold. She held her strength. And now that they're out of Capricorn, she's moved into Aquarius. She was the first of the gang that was all in Capricorn together to move into Aquarius. So what opens the door to this Aquarius energy of Pallas and then Saturn and then Jupiter moving into Aquarius, and then the great conjunction that's coming in a few days of Jupiter and Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in the 1st degree of Aquarius. This is a huge burst of like more galactic energies, you know, opening us up, opening us up. Okay, let's see. So on Saturday, December 19th, Jupiter ingresses into Aquarius. So we had Saturn, who is the God, the Father, walking into Aquarius first. And now Jupiter, his son, walks in after him. And it's as if Saturn has created structures that will, on some level, help to bring the Jupiter energy forward in wisdom and what we've learned through this experience. The last time Jupiter was in Aquarius was 2009. That's when Barack Obama became president of the United States. That's when he was inaugurated. And now Jupiter, like what was the Jupiter in Aquarius to Jupiter in Aquarius, what was the lesson of that? What was the lesson of that experience to have Barack Obama for 8 years, somebody who had so much promise and could have gotten so much more done had the Republicans not obstructed everything that he tried to do. He tried to bring progress. He was a progressive guy who had to work within the systems and the structures in order to do the best job he could. I'm sure he didn't want to turn his back on his spiritual leader, but he had to in order to do some work, to do work. I think he'll really be appreciated. I mean, I think we appreciate him now, but he'll really be appreciated when we see just you know, just what was at stake in a way. On the same day, Mercury makes a superior conjunction to the Sun at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. So Mercury conjunct the Sun, the illumination of truth, Sagittarius. This is a moment of bringing energy from actually the last time Jupiter was in Sagittarius. I feel that energy coming in here too. And that was in Jupiter. It was Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Sagittarius. And that was back in 2007. No, Pluto. 2007. Right. There was a conjunction of Jupiter and Pluto. That's connected to this as well. So it's almost like the forces for good, like break through. That's what it feels like. Wow. So here's Jupiter's ingress into Aquarius. Here we see Jupiter here. Of course, we have Pallas leading the pack, and then we have Saturn, and then we have Jupiter. Now, Jupiter will, of course, overtake both of these because Jupiter moves much faster. But that won't be till 2021. I think when we'll start to really feel the energy of Jupiter come forward. Yeah, Jupiter in Aquarius really sort of helping out the people, helping out the people. I don't think I have my calendar for that year in front of me. Otherwise, I could tell you when that happens. But I'll do that as time goes on. We'll talk about this stuff again. All right. And then on the 20th, we have Mercury moving into Capricorn. This is actually a really good energy for structuring and organization. A lot of structuring and organization energy at this time on the 20th December. So you can build what needs to be built, and you can build it well. And it has to, and of course it has to do with communication. So it's not just about necessarily building like a car or something, but this is a communication, building a structure of communication and connection, professional connections, even, different, doctors meeting doctors, psychics with psychics, astrologers with astrologers, that kind of thing, where there's more of a network, more of a network energy. Monday, December 21st, a very important day, probably one of the most important days of 2020, along with the Saturn Pluto conjunction. We have the sun moving into Capricorn, which happens on every solstice, which is in itself very powerful. So very powerful. But the sun ingresses into Capricorn at the same time as Venus makes an inconjunct to Uranus. Venus and Uranus, it's sort of missing the mark kind of energy. Maybe things that you think would be well-intentioned get blown out of proportion. Relationships are maybe expressing irritation to one another, but it's because of something that's just a little bit out of sight, something coming up in the relationship, or something that's bugging them that they're not looking straight at. And so it causes an irritation, and maybe you almost see it in the person that's irritating you. So there's that. And then lastly, and we'll talk about this even though it's at the end of the page, Jupiter conjunct Saturn. This is the sun's ingress into Capricorn right here. You see that? Jupiter and Saturn are 2 minutes away from each other when that happens, when the sun goes in. So they're very, very, very close. Yeah, 2 minutes, yep. This conjunction is occurring in the second house. The second house, this is for Washington, D.C. The second house is money. It's resources, and it's moving into Aquarius. And so this feels like this is when they release some sort of aid. The next aid package comes, and it really has some it really helps people as opposed to corporations. Although Aquarius does have a corporate element, or certainly a tribal element to it. So that's very powerful. This is a very, very powerful thing. And then you look to see where the ruler of Aquarius is in this chart. I would definitely want to look at that. The ruler, of course, of Aquarius is Uranus. And we have Uranus, where is she? He, right here in at 6 degrees of Taurus, 57 minutes, 7 degrees of Taurus. 7 degrees of Taurus. Do I have the book here? Hold on. Yeah. So this has an influence on the nature of the 1 degree of Aquarius. Did I say 7? Oh, 7 of Taurus. I didn't go back far enough. Oh, here we go. All right, is this 7? Yep. Okay, so it says, the woman of Samaria at the ancestral well. The meeting of the traditional past of creative spirit pointing to the future. The meeting of the traditional past and of the creative spirit pointing to the future. So this is a symbol of taking the best of what the structures had to offer. And then yeah, where are we? Yeah. And then utilizing the energy of the youth, the energy of, people want to get moving. They want free reign to make a difference, to help the world, to help the environment, to help other people, to help the animals, to help, whatever it is, the birds, the plants that get destroyed through the process, that the way we treat the earth. This is about bringing those together. And that's the age of Aquarius. How do we take our individual talents and abilities, our individual sense of what we're here to share from our heart, and apply it? Miraculous things will happen. Allowing yourself to be the fully loving person that you are. It's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. All right, let's see. The Jupiter Cyanotic cycle occurs every 20 years. That's when Jupiter and Saturn come together in their conjunction. The last conjunction occurred in May of 2000. At that time, Jupiter conjoined Saturn at the 23rd degree of Taurus. This current conjunction starts a larger cycle of these conjunctions occurring in air signs. So I'm not sure of the time, but say 150 to 200 years, these conjunctions every 20 years have been in earth signs, except one, I think in 1980, it was in air. But since then, it's been in earth. And now this one that's occurring is going to be in air, and it stays in air for, I think, another 150 years. So this is a very significant shift in consciousness from earthly to more like higher minded possibilities, like a real like expansion in consciousness. So this is a time of great change. Great change. And here's the conjunction. Jupiter and Saturn. And it's happening in the 10th house, this United States, of our leadership. Our leadership. This is occurring on the 21st of December. On the 14th, on the eclipse, that was the day the Electoral College, votes the president in, and then that's it. He's the president. And, this is a few days later. And then, so there's this giant, shift in where the person who's going to be in charge of America anyway, and really America sort of leads the world in this. It's like sometimes we get to stuff first, maybe. I don't know, maybe not, maybe we just think that, who knows. We have Aries, our wound in the United States wound is in Aries. It's like, who am I? Do I have the right to exist? I am mighty. I am though I am. I mean, there's all this range, right? There's all this range. All right, so. And the other thing that's happening is that the Sun and Mercury are conjunct here in Capricorn, the beginning of Capricorn. And so this talks about really talking about and communicating and restructuring systems so that they function better for the needs of the people. That's what it looks like to me. Mars on that day is actually close to its conjunction to Eris, the goddess of discord. She is political. She is there to use the pride of the established order against them. So these are things that we have to be careful of too. It's not going to be an easy ride through 2021, but we won't be letting go so much. We'll be building. We'll be starting the process of building. We still have some more let goes to happen, but I think those are going to be more structural. I think the first giant let go that we had to have was emotional, and that's what's happened. That's what's happened. It was like a giant catharsis. Oh my God. Here we go. All right. Okay, I said that already. Yeah. All right. So then on the 23rd, so what is this? 2 days later, Mars makes a square to Pluto for the third time, and for the third and last time in 2020. These first quarter squares. We had the first one in March and the second one in September when Mars was retrograde. And now this will be the third and last of this type of 90-degree square, which is a crisis in action square. And Mars is in Aries. And Pluto is in Capricorn. Power of the structure, Aries, Mars, this could be really, a dangerous time, a dangerous time. You have to be really careful at this time. Because the energy is one of, taking action to build, to escape the past and build a different or firmer foundation. But that energy could be experienced through like people getting violent or angry or something like that, or it be expressed through taking that energy and investing it into what you do best. And in doing that, you bring forward more of what you are in service to the healing and the true expression of ourselves. So powerful. Now check this out. So Mars is at 24 degrees of Aries and Pluto is at 24 degrees of Capricorn. The Sabian symbol for Mars in Aries at that degree is blown inward by the wind. The curtains of an open window take the shape of a cornucopia. The keynote is openness to the influx of spiritual energies. The key word is molded by transpersonal forces. We become conduits of evolution, of awakening to both higher levels of consciousness, what we're consciously aware of, and higher levels of emotional love and satisfaction and just we become who we're meant to be, and we do what needs to be done. And the world is a better place for all of it. The Sabian symbol for 24 degrees of Capricorn is a woman entering a convent. Total commitment to a transcendent goal. Keyword, transcendent security. We can only ascend. We have to commit to that opening of breaking down of the limitations, opening up to higher consciousness, opening up to higher love, opening up to a more enlightened and aware existence. Being aware of Mother Nature around us. Maybe Mother Nature is screaming because so many people are ignoring her. Maybe she just wants us to stop hacking down her trees and hurting her animals and just come back to her and love her. With all the technology that we have, but to come back to love her. Very powerful with these two. And that's what Mars is doing, that pushing that, creating that. Very, very powerful. And here we have the Mars-Pluto. We have Pluto here in the 12th house for Washington, D.C., Mars in the second house. I almost feel like this is help, that people who have a lot of money will put money into the system. The money that that really has to go into the system in order for the system to work for anybody. And so I think there's an energy of generosity because it's good for the bottom line. And yet, it's still generosity. It's still a shift in energy. And so I see that in this Mars-Pluto. I see that. Okay, let's see what else. On Christmas, for those of you who celebrate Friday, December 25th, we have a trine between Mercury and Uranus. Uranus is the higher mind, Mercury is the lower mind. The trine is a trine of understanding, of learning, of social rewards. These are huge, huge downloads, people, huge downloads. Mercury at 7 degrees of Capricorn, Uranus at 7 degrees of Taurus. This cycle was seated on April 30th, 2020 at 4 degrees of Taurus. And the Sabian symbol for 4 degrees of Taurus is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is symbolic of ascension, of moving through over the rainbow bridge and ascending. And I don't mean the rainbow bridge, you know, where the animals go and stuff. That's not the rainbow bridge I mean. But, or it is, but it's not in that context. It's it's an awakening to a higher consciousness, really. More fully integrated, more whole, more ourselves. On the next day, the 26th, Chiron makes a square to the sun, or the sun actually makes a square to Chiron. Chiron is at 5 degrees of Aries and the sun at 5 degrees of Capricorn. This is a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. This cycle was seated back on the 25th of March at 6 degrees of Aries. And it says here, a square with one of its sides brightly illumined, the emotional desire for concrete and stabilized existence as a person. This is a opportunity to really, on a certain level, take responsibility, take responsibility and then become your best ally. Become your best ally to healing what needs to be healed, to do what needs to be done. What is it that's been holding you back? Really holding you back? It's not there anymore. It's going. Well, it's going. It's on its way out. So all in search for a more concrete and stable existence. What would make it more concrete and stabilized if we were aligned, to who we really are? Powerful month. Okay. On the 27th, the sun in Capricorn makes a trine to Uranus in Taurus. This is a trine of social rewards, understanding, and learning. This was seated back on March 26, 2020, at 9 degrees of Taurus. And this was when things really started to like close down with COVID around here, I think. It was around that time. And it says a fully decorated Christmas tree. And the keynote is the ability to create inner happiness in the darkest of hours. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been forced to do. Don't worry, be happy. Maybe he has a point. Maybe he has a point. On the 29th of December, we have a full moon in Cancer. And, this is a high emotional time. A lot of feelings coming up. The sun is at 9 degrees of Capricorn for this full moon. This is not an eclipse, which is fine because eclipses can be a jangle on our nerves. This is like a balm. This is like a healing balm, this full moon. So it says, an angel carrying a harp, 9 degrees of Capricorn. The revelation of the spiritual meaning and purpose at the core of any life situation. Keyword, attunement. So the sun is what is bringing light. This is the life and the life giver in this relationship of the sun and the moon. It creates the light, and the moon reflects the light back. And so the illumination is the attunement, the revelation of spiritual meaning and purpose at the core of any life situation. That is powerful. That is powerful. And then the moon, a small naked girl bends over a pond trying to catch a fish. The keynote here is the first naive quest for knowledge and for an ever elusive understanding of life. This is reminding us that if we are to enter the kingdom of heaven, we must be like the child, full of joy and wonder, not full of judgment and fear and walls and isolation. Enough. Release. The love is coming, folks. The love is coming. Oh my goodness. I didn't expect to actually say most of this. And here's the full moon. In the United States, this full moon is in the 10th and the 4th house. This is the house of the parental house. It's sort of the spiritual spine in a way. It's the spiritual spine of the cardinal cross. The depth of the soul to the height of the soul, to transcendence. And then as we relate, 1st and 7th house. And what's there on Venus here Venus conjunct the South Node. Help from the past coming. Friends, old friends coming. The South Node isn't just about letting go. The South Node also gives us access to talent and abilities that we have, that we may have forgotten that we had. Or maybe we haven't forgotten. It's something we've always wanted to do, and now we do it. Oh, I've always wanted to finish carpentry. Do it. Do it. Because if that's what you've always wanted to do, I bet you'd be really good at it, even if you didn't know you could. December 30th, Venus at 19 degrees of Sagittarius squares Neptune at 19 degrees of Pisces. This is a point of crisis in consciousness, crisis in faith. Venus is what we value, what we love. Neptune is the ideal. And so there can be this sort of fall from grace for people who've been seen as an ideal in other people's lives, to the detriment of the people, to the detriment of the people. And this is a crisis in faith and an ability to outgrow their need for that savior person, that only I can fix it person. And they take their agency back and they start fixing their own problems. This cycle began on March 8th at 19 degrees of Pisces. Says a master instructing his disciple, the transfer of power and knowledge which keeps the original spiritual and creative impulses of the cycle and active and undeviated. This is like graduation. This is like, for all the hard work and all the love and sacrifice and sense of responsibility, the reward on the other side of that, here, right at the end of the year. I'm doing a reading.
With somebody?
No, I'm doing a video. Yeah, I'll be right up. Yeah, I'm almost done. Thanks. Okay, whatever. I'm almost done. Hi. He didn't know I was doing a video. Okay. So we have a master instructing his disciples for the Neptune and Pisces. And then the Venus part of it is pelicans menaced by the behavior and refuse of men seek safer areas for bringing up their young. The need for people concerned with the future to discover a new way of living in more wholesome surroundings. This is amazing. This is the Green New Deal, guys. This is the Green New Deal. I'm not saying it's happening that day, but the energy for that is moving forward. Is moving forward. We are going through a big, big break because we're choosing to help other people than to selfishly just get what we want. That's what happened in the election of 2020. And this is, at the end of the year, the manifestation of that, of what we've been through. Okay. And the sun sets on 2020. This, I don't know how long this is, and I apologize if it's super long. This has been a very humbling, beautiful, creative, scary, marvelous, frustrating, heavy lifting, soaring to heights, feeling energies you've never felt before, feeling connection and love, feeling deep fear, all of that in this year of 2020. A year of endings and beginnings, of leavings and arrivings. We will look back for many, many years on this year as a shift and a changing, and a point of change, and a new way of living, and a new structure being born. We'll look back and know that this was a really important time in the consciousness and the expansion of humanity. And of everything else connected to humanity. Okay. I want to thank you for listening to me this long. I'm sure the volume at times will be difficult. I get into it and I don't have the best audio equipment. So we just have to deal with it. But much, much love to all of you. Merry, happy, all the holidays, all the sense, the rebirth of the light, the return of the sun here in the Northern Hemisphere. A reopening to life, a reopening to purpose, to no longer being just watching the world go by, but actually being part of it to rebuild it. That's the other side of 2020. And I'm glad I could share it with you. And I'm glad that I have this platform, as little as it is, to spread the love and the light. I've known great love in my life, great love. And there's no point of holding on to it. You have to just pay it forward. So if you wonder where that comes from in me, it comes from the love I received from my parents and my mother. The mother who gave birth to me, and the parents who loved me and raised me to be the person I am today. Much love. Take care.